Good morning, commune education revolutionaries. I was just sitting here talking to you and I don't. Ah! It says you're live. You're now live. I'm still learning all this stuff. I had to hit the go live button and I was already talking to you. Good morning, commune education revolutionaries. I'm here. I'm Susan May and I'm here to share with you, as promised, about what I believe are the biggest hurdles for non-speakers families or unreliable speakers, minimal speakers. What is the biggest hurdle that these families face when they're considering homeschooling? The first thing I want to very quickly touch on, because it's not the primary focus, is practical hurdles, which could be we have two parents that work. We're a um, two working parent family, and you can't imagine how that would work. So it could be a matter of time, of money, and these are kind of logistical type things. And what I will say very quickly is that most families can find a way if they really believe and want to homeschool. And this is true of families with neurotypical children and of families that we have the non-speakers, the autism, the Down syndrome. We have a kid with those type challenges. It doesn't matter if our families want homeschooling, we can make the logistics work, and that's a whole nother topic. But what I want to talk to you about today is what I believe is the number one hurdle that stops families from homeschooling, and that is fear. Okay, and we're going to talk about a couple different types of fears that people have. So more than one mom has told me that they are terrified. That's usually the word they use, terrified, to bring their child home. And they usually have a really good reason for that fear. And usually it's past trauma. So it's past trauma of their child and of themselves, of their other children. And as you know, it can be very common issue for our children is self-harm and aggressive behaviors. And so this is a real fear. This is not something we want to take lightly. Um, and I don't have like a guarantee for people, but what I can tell you when you're looking at this fear of how will I deal with like these behaviors, or how can I take care of myself and my child, what I can tell you is that time and again, families that do homeschool, so this is kind of like our study group, will tell you that their stress in their lives actually decreases when they bring their child home. Their stress, their child's stress, and with that decrease in stress comes less of these behaviors. The behaviors usually diminish, the really scary behaviors, and they usually improve. And so over and over again, we hear stories, and that's why you'll hear homeschooling families say, this is the best decision we ever made. And so that's why it's so sad when we let that fear stop us. And another reassuring thing that April Bowden and I like to offer up to people is that when we're taking these big steps, these leaps, one thing that can help us is to remember that nothing has to be permanent, okay? That we can always change course. And so if you bring your child home, granted, you can't bring your child home for a week and think everything's going to change. But if you bring your child home for months or a year and it's really not working, school is still going to be there for you. So that can just be the kind of reassurance that your mind and your heart need to take that step into something that feels really scary. Okay, so that's one kind of fear that we have, and it's based on very real past trauma. So that's the past. The other type of fear is fear of failure. And that fear is based on something that we're projecting into the future. So April has said that one of the big things that parents, when they come to her for coaching, for homeschool coaching, they're like, I could never do that. I could never keep up this schedule or this routine, this kind of homeschool. They have some picture in their head of what homeschool means and what it looks like, and they think they can't do it. And that's where April and I come in with our combined decades of homeschool experience, both of our non-speakers, our boys that are non-speakers and autistic, and our neurotypical children, and we can come in and reassure you and show you you don't have to be scared of that because you have the wrong image. You don't have the right picture of what homeschool actually is. Okay? And so this fear of failure, well, I could never do this. April will tell her people, I don't do that. I don't keep this particular schedule, right? So you have this and remember, you're taking your kids out of school because school's not working for them. Why would you create the system at home that doesn't work for your child? You have to create something new. Okay? And so what can help us overcome this hurdle of fear? The best thing is that when we replace fear with love, right? The opposite. When we replace it with truth, and where do we get that truth? We get it from the experience of others that have done the thing we're scared to do. When we replace it with courage, when we step into courage, being brave doesn't mean we aren't scared. It means that we take the step. We take, we do in spite of the fear. So one of the best ways to do that is to surround yourself with people that are already doing the thing that you're scared to do, right? So many times in the autism world and in homeschooling circles, you feel alone because it's not the norm in our culture. But honestly, more and more people are doing it. So that's what Nonspeaker's homeschool support does, is it's creating this space where you're like, oh, look at all these people are doing the thing. Okay, and they share their experience, they share their wisdom, they share their favorite resources, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, you can see a way that fits in with your family. Right now, I have an opportunity for you it's a no-brainer. It's a sneak peek you get to actually come into our community from now until next Thursday for the next week till the end of the month, because it's April, it's Autism Acceptance, Awareness, Action Month, and it's the 2-year anniversary of NHS, of Non-Speakers Homeschool Support. And so you can come in, you can join us on Tuesday for our member call where we're going to talk about creating structure in our days. What does that mean? What does it look like? It doesn't look like school, okay? But it can look like something that works for your family and that makes your life less stressful and a lot more joyful. That sounds pretty good, right? So we're going to talk about creating that structure. How do we do it? And we're going to talk about our favorite education resources. Now, you don't have to be homeschooling to want this in your life, because even if your child is going to some kind of program, whether that's public school or private or it's an ABA program, your child's still with you a large portion of their days, and you still need these tools, okay? And so you can come to that call or watch the replay, and you'll have access to our private Facebook group, which is a gold mine. That's what the words I've been using, a gold mine of resources, because we have 2 years of member calls now in there. We have 7 guest speaker replays, which include Dr. Dana Johnson, Dawn Marie Gavin. They're actually on 2 calls, one separately and one together. So it's 3 different calls. We have Elizabeth Bonker. We have a call from my dear friend about how to get reliable respite care, which is life-changing. We have a call from my friend Laura Swain, who is an incredible homeschool advocate and dear friend, and she has this message: there's no such thing as behind, which is exactly what our people need to hear on this journey. So all of this is inside there for you to binge on for the next week for free. All you have to do is fill out this very simple form, and you can come in and you can enjoy, and then will give you the opportunity to stay with us. It's the last time I'm inviting a large group into our community until August, because then for the next 3 months, I'm going to focus on Carter, my family, and NHS members. So we'd love to have you. If you have any of these fears, even if it's a fear of one of those practical, logistical things I talked about, a fear of how will this work if my husband and I are both working, that's a hard thing to figure out, but it can be done. If it's a fear of your child's behavior and how will you cope with that, very real. If it's a fear of you just not being able to do it, that's probably the one that I can help you the most with, and I would love to help you with that. So come on in, join us. I'm going to shoot that link into the comments. I hope you are having a great week, and I can't wait to see you on the inside of NHS for the next week. Get your sneak peek today. Okay. Mwah. I'm Susan May, and I'm inviting you to join the revolutions. Yes, with an S. It's the communication revolution and the education revolution that spelling is bringing to our families of non-speakers, of unreliable speakers, minimal speakers, people that have been underestimated for decades. We are on the front of these revolutions. So join us. Have a great week. Bye.